Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here with another waiver wire video. This is the waiver wire video for week 7. And it's a weird week. There are 2 days this week that don't have any games at all. And it makes for a weird schedule. This is due to the overseas games as well as American Thanksgiving. So definitely important to look at your schedule and what you can fit in if you're grabbing a player, because odds are a lot of players you can't even fit in your schedule this week because it's such a weird schedule. Before we jump into it, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. More than half of you guys are still not subscribed. And for those of you that are subscribed, consider hitting the link down below. That'll link you to my Patreon and take your support to the next level. There's some nice perks down there if you do, such as getting to DM me one-on-one whenever you want. All right, let's jump into it now, guys, and let's take a look at the Week 7 schedule. And on Monday, November 23rd, 7 games. So it's a decently busy night, but not overly busy. Tuesday, there are no games at all. Wednesday, there are 4 teams, so almost every team in the NHL plays. Thursday, there are no games. Friday, there are 15 games, so every single team in the NHL except for 2 play. Saturday, there are 8 games, and Sunday, there are 5. So as you can see, guys, Monday and Sunday are the off nights, so to say, although Monday is pretty busy even for an off night day. So go ahead and check if you have room on Monday, and then if you have room on maybe Saturday and Sunday, because those are the least busy nights of the week. Now, the teams with the best schedule this week are the Edmonton Oilers and the Nashville Predators, because they do play 4 games this week, and they play on both of those off nights, Monday and Sunday. And those are the days that you're most likely to be able to fit somebody in your lineup. So those are definitely 2 of the best teams to be streaming for this week. And then there are 6 other teams that play 4 games this week. Those teams are Boston, Calgary, Colorado, New York Rangers, San Jose Sharks, and Vancouver Canucks. Now, as far as bad schedule teams, there's one team that has an atrociously bad schedule, and that's the Ottawa Senators. They only play on Friday, which is the busiest night of the week, so that's really not great at all. If you're holding Ottawa Senators this week, it's really, really not ideal, especially have a lot of them on your team. It's going to really lower your chance of winning this week. And there are 4 teams that also only have 2 games this week, and those are Minnesota, Toronto, Vegas, and Washington. Not ideal schedules for those teams either. Jumping into some forward options now, guys. The number 1 guy over here is Nick Suzuki at 65% roster, and he's been doing really, really well all year, getting points at seemingly every single game, playing top line and top power play for Montreal. You definitely can't go wrong adding Nick Suzuki this week. Then Jaden Schwartz of the Seattle Kraken is on an absolute tear. The dude has not stopped. He's been getting points left and right, and as long as he's doing that, guys, he's an ad for your team. I personally think he's going to slow down soon, though, so be wary of that. I don't think Jaden Schwartz is as good as he's been this year, so I really don't expect this amazing play to continue, so definitely be wary of that, and he could be a drop in a few weeks if his play really does slow down. Brian Rust of the Pittsburgh Penguins has been incredible this year. He's been playing on the top line with Gensel and Sidney Crosby. You really can't go wrong adding Brian Rust. Valeri Nichushkin was my Manscaped must-add player of the week last week. He went up quite a bit in roster percentage, and for good reason. He's playing on the top line with Nathan MacKinnon, as well as the top power play with McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar, and he's really doing well. They're finally giving him an opportunity to succeed here, and he's really taken advantage of it so far. Then I have Pavel Buchnevich of the St. Louis Blues up to 51% rostered. Finally, he dropped almost as low as 40% rostered because he really had a bad start to the year, but he is a phenomenal hockey player, and he's really starting to turn it on right now on that line with Robert Thomas, as well as the top power play. The Blues are starting to pop right now, and you need to be adding Buchnevich before it's too late. Then I have Matt Duchene, who has 4 goals and 4 assists in his last 4 games. That's right, he has 8 points in his last 4 games. He's on an absolute tear right now, and he's someone that I actually liked this year going for the Dallas Stars, and he's really showing why Dallas acquired him, and he's really, really dangerous right now. This hot play may not last the whole year, but as long as he's hot, he needs to be owned on your fantasy squad. Then Robert Thomas at St. Louis Blues is also probably the hottest player in the NHL right now, playing on that line with Buchnevich, as well as a top power play. As long as this guy is rolling, he needs to be on your fantasy team. His peripherals have never really been that great, but as long as the points keep coming, Can't really complain. Braden Shen is another guy who's being added in a lot of leagues. Yes, the Blues are popping, as you can see by the amount of Blues I've already had on this list. He's playing on the line with Kyrou right now, who's also seeming to be breaking out finally this year, as well as a top power play, so you can't go wrong adding Braden Shen. Quentin Byfield of the Los Angeles Kings got him once again on this list, playing top line with Anze Kopitar, and he's still putting up the points, guys. Yes, his peripherals kind of suck, but if you're looking just for points, Byfield is definitely not a bad option. Ryan O'Reilly is an option because of the off nights that he plays this week. He's playing on the top line as well as the top power play with Philip Forsberg, and as long as he is, guys, he has a chance to explode every single night. He's been kind of boomer bust all year, but if he booms for you on any of the nights he plays, he's going to be worth streaming this week. Then we got Wyatt Johnston, who also seems to be popping off right now on that second line, playing with Dodonov and Jamie Benn. And only PP2, but as long as he's hot, guys, I definitely don't mind adding him to your fantasy team. And next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Alexis Lafreniere. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIP. I can promise you guys that you've never seen a ball trimmer look like a spaceship. Get your Lawnmower 5.0 today from our folks at Manscaped. Now, why is Alexis Lafreniere my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Well, he seems to finally be popping off. He's playing on the line right now with Trocheck and Panarin, and he's actually performing. For the first time in his career, he seems to actually be kind of living up to that first round overall draft pick kind of hype. He's actually putting in goals, he's putting assists up, and he's looking pretty good on the ice. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that he can actually keep this up for the first time in his career, because if he's able to keep this up, he's going to be someone that you're going to want to keep on your roster for sure. And this week, the Rangers play 4 games, so never a better time to be adding Alexis Lafreniere. Then Alex Iafallo still playing top line and top power play in Winnipeg with Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, and he seems to be popping off. I had him last week as well. He's gone up quite a bit in roster percentage. Take a look at Alex Iafallo if he's available in your league. Then I have Sam Bennett, who's finally back from his injury for the second time now. He's playing on the line with Carter Verhaeghe as well as Matthew Tkachuk. And so far through 2 games, he's done a whole lot of nothing, but he's someone that I do really believe in, and generally he shoots and hits quite a bit. And with the opportunity he's being given on that line, he definitely should be able to put up the points. Then JJ Peterka of the Buffalo Sabres is someone who's been quietly putting together a pretty good year. Now he's up to 10% rostered, and he's putting up points very, very frequently. He's getting top 6 deployment, so as long as he's actually putting up points, definitely doesn't hurt to add this guy to your team. Then we got Cole Perfetti of the Winnipeg Jets, who was going to be my Manscaped must-add player of the video, but Lafreniere kind of deserved that. But Perfetti is absolutely going off right now on that second line in Winnipeg, as well as the top power play. He's putting up points every single night, and this guy absolutely needs to be rostered in more leagues. If he's not owned in your league, add him now before it is too late. Luke Evangelista, Gustav Nyquist, and Cody Glass are all Nashville Predators that I have on this page here. Evangelista and Glass play on the second line together, but Evangelista gets top power play time, and Evangelista has been going off all year long. He's been doing very, very well. Unfortunately, I was going to have Novak on this list as well, but Novak got injured for the next 4 to 6 weeks, so Novak, you shouldn't be adding him for this week, unfortunately. I mean, you could stash him on IR if you have an IR spot, but definitely hurts to not have Novak here. But Evangelista is a pretty good streamer for those off nights that Nashville has this week. Gustav Nyquist is also a pretty good streamer now. I believe that he's been put on that top power play with O'Reilly and Evangelista and Forsberg in Novak's absence, so definitely not a bad call there. And he's also playing on a top line with O'Reilly and Forsberg, so definitely a decent streamer if you're in a deeper league. And then Sam Gagner is actually playing on the top line with Connor McDavid right now. If that line sticks, he could be a viable streamer for next week. Edmonton is notorious for shuffling their lines a lot, though, so definitely make sure to check back and see that he's still there before you add him. And Cody Glass is now replacing Novak on that second line there, and he's actually a pretty underrated player, so I don't mind adding him if you're in a super deep league for those off nights. Jumping into defense now, and Gustav Forsling's the first guy on this list. He seems to be bouncing back now. He's not a guy who gets power play time, but he's putting up points and putting up some decent peripherals. Travis Sanheim's a guy who needs to be added in more leagues here. This is probably your last call for Travis Sanheim. he's probably not going to be available to you if he's still available now. Someone's going to pick him up. He's been great all year. He's been putting up points. He's been putting up some decent peripherals. He needs to be added. Pavel Mintyukov of the Anaheim Ducks, 56% rostered, might be a last call for him as well. He's doing fantastic, putting up points almost every game. His peripherals are still pretty decent, so I definitely don't mind Pavel Mintyukov. Then Zach Werenski of the Columbus Blue Jackets seems to be bouncing back a little bit now. He had a bit of a weaker start to the year, but with the top power play deployment he's getting, he's starting to put up the points now. Zach Werenski needs to be added in more leagues. He definitely has top 30 upside as a defenseman. Eric Gustafsson of the New York Rangers. Now that the Rangers have a good schedule, Gustafsson should be added. He's replacing Adam Fox on that top power play, and he's producing. Jared Spurgeon is another guy who you have to add right now in Minnesota. He's a guy who puts up plenty of peripherals and will still put up points despite him not getting top power play time in Minnesota right now. He's someone that needs to be added. Unfortunately, the Wild doesn't have the best schedule this week with only 2 games, but definitely still someone to keep on your radar. Caden Gooley of the Montreal Canadiens is putting up points every few games or so, but what's more impressive is the peripherals that he's putting up. He's putting up plenty of blocks and other peripherals as well, which make him have a pretty safe floor night in and night out. I like Caden Gooley a lot this year. Then Jeff Petrie of the Detroit Red Wings is someone you can consider adding as well. Jeff Petrie is playing really well right now, putting up points seemingly every single night. He's back and he's playing on the top power play in Detroit. So as long as he is, guys, Jeff Petrie is definitely a viable option for your fantasy team. Scott Perunovich is an option in really deep leagues because he's playing top power play in St. Louis and the Blues are starting to pop, so Perunovich could also start to pop here. And then Nikita Okhotyuk, I have no idea how to pronounce his name properly, so I'm going to be calling him Nikita OK. And he's just okay. He's putting up plenty of peripherals. Don't expect any points, but if peripherals are what you're looking for, he's putting up shots, hits, and blocks, and that's definitely not too bad of a streamer if you're in a league that's super deep, like a categories league that needs guys like this. Jumping into goalies, and Stuart Skinner has finally bounced back, has won 3 games in a row, has looked pretty decent too. The Oilers seem to be really trending in the right direction here. Stuart Skinner is a must add in all leagues if he's not already owned. And Jacob Markstrom of the Calgary Flames, now that Wolf has been sent back to the AHL, he is a starter again. He won his last 2 starts now, and he seems to be also trending in the right direction. He's a guy who you should be adding right now. John Gibson of the Anaheim Ducks is also really doing well in Anaheim right now and is getting the majority of the starts, so he's someone that needs to be added in more leagues. Ranta and Kochetkov. Kochetkov is a guy who I would prioritize here. He's playing better than Ranta. Needs to be added in way more leagues here. With Frederik Andersen, he's the guy that they're looking towards to get the starts right now, and he's doing pretty well. Peter Mrazek with Chicago Blackhawks, 26% roster, has been fantastic all year. I've already raved about him quite a bit considering the team he plays for. He's been doing very well. Definitely someone I don't mind adding to your fantasy lineup. Elvis Merzlikins of the Columbus Blue Jackets is getting the starts for Columbus and has been doing pretty well as of late, so I don't mind that ad. And then Connor Ingram of the Arizona Coyotes. If the Coyotes keep alternating their starts from their goalies like they have been, Ingram should see 2 starts this week, Monday and Saturday, whereas Vejmelka will only see the Wednesday start in all likelihood. Then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, or as I like to call him, 6K, is only 15% rostered and has been playing better than Devin Levi overall. So at the very least, he should be getting half the starts in Buffalo. So I don't mind that ad either. Then Mackenzie Blackwood. The Sharks have been a little bit better as of late, and Blackwood is really their guy. So if you're desperate for a low-owned goalie, he's not a terrible option. And finally, Charlie Lindgren of the Washington Capitals seems to have temporarily taken over that starting position in Washington. I don't know how long that's going to last, but as long as he's the starter, he definitely can be added in more leagues. Keep in mind that Washington only plays 2 games this week, so at most he's getting 2 starts, but may only see 1 because Kemper could be given a start as well. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.